Retromaniac Game Review, Retromaniac Game Review, Retromaniac Game Review, giving off nostalgia, retro power.
Growing up in the 80s and 90s was a blast. My friends and I were very much Nintendo kids. We had a couple Sega friends too, but our favorite games for the NES were Contra 1 and Double Dragon 2. Then, in the summer of 1991, something amazing happened. The Super Nintendo was released. Also during that very same summer, I saw a movie in the theater for the first time that would end up becoming one of my favorite movies of all time. Terminator 2: Judgment Day. I knew once this movie released on VHS, I would wear it out just like I had with Terminator 1 and Aliens. And because of my love for Contra, I kept thinking, how cool would it be to have an Aliens or a Terminator game in that style? A year later, I got my wish. Kind of. Terminator 2: Judgment Day was released for the Game Boy. But that very same month, another game was also released, Contra 3: Alien Wars. Growing up in a poor family, of course I can't ask my parents for both games. It had to be one or the other. So obviously I went with Contra. And to my surprise, Contra 3 even had a boss that was very similar to the T-800, only a giant version. Contra 3 was an amazing game, and we got months of gameplay out of it. But when we finally got bored with playing it for the 500th time, my friends and I would ride our bikes down to the library. Yes, the library. What was cool about our library, though, is they let you rent Nintendo games. It was $1 to rent a game for an entire week. Now, they didn't have Super Nintendo games because that was still fairly new at the time, but they did have a plethora of Nintendo games. One of the newer games they had there was T2 Judgment Day. I knew what I was spending my $1 out of $5 weekly allowance money on. I brought it home, dusted off the Nintendo, plugged it in, and I was super excited to be playing this game for a whole week. 1 hour later, I turned it off, never to play it again. This game was awful. So I think it was about 2 years or so later when I was randomly in a Blockbuster video with my mom, and I happened to be going down the video game section to see what they had for rent. I came across T2 Judgment Day, this time for Super Nintendo. I guess I didn't learn my lesson from my first time with a Nintendo Terminator game, and begged my mom to let me rent this for the hefty price of $5. She agreed. I went home. I popped it in the SNES, turned on the power button, and 20 minutes later, I turned off the power button, never to play the game again. How could the SNES version of this game be worse than the Nintendo version? That's it, I'm done. I give up on there being a good Terminator game. I'm never playing another Terminator game again. With the exception of a Bullwinkle's birthday party, where I played T2 the arcade game with a friend, and we both had machine guns pointed at the screen shooting everything in sight. His poor mom was standing there with a cup of tokens that we kept expending. We got all the way to the T-1000 fight in front of the liquid nitrogen truck and ran out. So besides T2 the arcade game, I never wanted to play another Terminator game again. Until now. Hasta La Vista LJN. There's a new team in town, and it looks like they know what they're doing. Mission complete, childhood saved. This game's looking great so far. It's the game we imagined when we were young. It's the game that we never got. It's the game that we deserve. Shown off so far is faithfully recreated iconic moments from the movie, mixed with fast-paced side-scrolling battles. Play as one of 3 legendary heroes through 15 action-packed levels. Fight in the Future Wars as leader of the Resistance John Connor makes his way through the Contra-inspired war-torn battle zones. As a reprogrammed T-800, your primary objective is to protect the young John Connor from the hot pursuit of the T-1000. As Sarah Connor, you are a prisoner in a mental institution and you must find a way out so you can start your personal quest and take on the creators of Skynet to stop Judgment Day from ever happening. For some of the T-800 and Sarah Connor levels, the developers said they were heavily inspired by the arcade classics Rolling Thunder and Elevator Action Returns. Without even having played this game and just watching all the different trailers and developer interviews, I feel like I need to give Bitmap Bureau and Reef Games a standing ovation for what they've accomplished. And it's probably too early to tell, but if this game is successful, I hope these developers consider Aliens or The Predator for their next IP. And I hope that Terminator 2D No Fate is just another cog in the gears of gaming toward a retro renaissance. I think I'll carve a T-800 jack-o'-lantern in honor of this game's release, and I know I'll be playing it while I'm waiting to pass out candy to the trick-or-treaters. In conclusion, I just gotta say, the more I see of this game, the more it just makes me want to smile. Don't forget to like and subscribe, leave a comment below, and we'll see you next time.